With Glaciela coming this month, this gives us the indication that the King Behemoth Raid is around the corner. So now is a good time to start prepping your units for that raid. But what if you don't want to use Glaciela or you don't pull her? What can you do? Well, this is going to be a list of 5 potential units for this raid that should be able to help you succeed. First candidate on this list is Rob Horn. Now, I know everyone in the community gets disappointed when they pull Rob, but your disappointment is gonna pay off as he's gonna be a perfect candidate for this raid. Rob sports sub-job Lancer, which means he has access to piercing, and he's of the light attribute, so he's perfect for doing damage in this raid. On top of that, he's sub-soldier, which means he has access to self-sacrifice, which gives him a whopping 60% boost when maxed out in attack. And on top of that, with his high crit, he's gonna reach the damage cap really quickly. So Rob, very good choice for this raid. Next up is my girl Eileen. Love her so much. She is of the main job Lancer, and she's Earth Element. The reason why I feel like she has potential in this raid is because of her limit burst, which imperils Earth at up to 38%. This means her damage output is going to increase further than what she's been doing normally. On top of that, she has sub-job Soldier, giving her access to self-sacrifice just like Rob. So her attack power is going to be up there. She's going to reach the cap pretty easy. The only downside to Eileen is her slow speed and the fact that she doesn't have 3-hit moves similar to Rain, and that's what made Rain very popular in the Ifrit raid, because he not only had Imperil, he was able to do 3-hit moves consistently throughout the raid. However, I feel like Eileen has very good potential in this raid. Lorenzo here is going to be the potential MVP MR unit for this raid. Why do I say that? Because not only does he have Dragoon in his kit, he also has Lancer in his kit. So he has double the poke in action. But what makes him very good for this raid is not because he could double the pokes. He has Time Mage in his kit. Because he has Time Mage in his kit, that means he has access to Slow Counter. Now, Slow Counter is very viable in any raid, because if the boss attacks the unit with Slow Counter, you have the chance of Slow Counter proccing and slowing down the boss. Obviously, when you slow down the boss, you have more chances of hitting the boss before it acts again. And on top of that, with its 90 agility, Steal Time is kind of tricky to use. It's not impossible, he's not immune to it, but it would be tricky to use because 90 agility is kind of fast. Only a few units are going to be able to outspeed him while keeping Steal Time up. So with Slow Counter, you're going to be able to help utilize Steal Time better and put in more hits. Now, before you ask, you're probably thinking, well, I could just cast Slow. Don't do that. Casting Slow not only has a lesser chances of proccing, but because King Behemoth has a 70 faith and a 25 resistance to slow, if you try to cast Slow even at a 97 faith, you're gonna have a 0% chance of success. So you don't want that. Slow Counter has a 50% chance of success, so you're better off hoping that procs and inflicts slow onto the boss rather than wasting your turn using slow. So Lorenzo here, very much of the MVP for this raid as an MR unit. I highly suggest, if you want to use MR units, you use him. Team him up with Eileen, team him up with any piercing team to help bring in the damage. Don't want to use Lorenzo, but also don't have a Lancer UR unit to use for the raid, then I suggest trying out Miranda. Now, Miranda has 2 things going for her that makes her a good candidate for this raid. One, she's a water element unit, which means she can help out Glacias, which are going to be popular for this raid, in doing damage. Now you're thinking, oh, she's a magic user. What are you talking about? There's no piercing in her kit, and that's where I say you need to look at her kit. She does have a piercing move, and that move is Resistance Break. Resistance Break does 2 hits, and even though it lowers their spirit, which won't contribute at all, the fact that it's a 2-hit piercing move will help contribute to the change that the Glaciers are building up. The second thing that Miranda has going for her is that she has sub-job Time Mage, which means she has access to slow counter. And as I explained with Lorenzo, slow counter has potential of slowing the boss down, thus allowing you to put more damage onto the boss. Because of this, and the fact that she has sub-job Paladin, she's more than capable of taking hits and surviving thanks to her Immortal Spirit move that will allow her to survive any fatal blow. Give her Vow of Love and you're able to generate some hate, which helps you increase your chances of proccing slow counter, because the boss is going to target you in the beginning. As the fight progresses, is probably going to start attacking the other units, but at least in the beginning, if he starts attacking you, you have the higher chance of proccing the slow counter. So Miranda has a very good opportunity to be in this raid, and she's a unit you don't have to work on because you already used her in the infant raid. So you could just bring her along here, team her up with Glaciela groups or piercing groups, but I see her more with Glacias, and then go to town. Just make sure you have slow counter as your counter, and do not mess up the Glacia's change. They're gonna kick you out of the group if you do. The last potential unit for this list that I feel that should be considered is Grace. There's 2 things going for her. One, she has Lancers, so she's a light unit with Lancer that helps with rob teams, build up chains, and get some damage in. But because she's a white mage, she's not going to be doing that much damage. But the second thing is she has Holy in her kit. Makes her another unit that you could utilize Holy with in those Holy teams that are probably going to see play for this raid. Remember, Behemoth is weak to light, so Holy chains are viable for this raid because Behemoth has a 70 faith. If Behemoth's fate was lower, then Holy would not work as well, but because he has 70 faith and 10% weakness to light, Holy has potential in this raid. And Grace doesn't get talked about too much, especially when you're thinking about Holy. People talk about Kelfe, people talk about Ishtola, but Grace, I feel like deserves the spot here because she has access to Holy, because she has sub-job Lancer. She has more options and more opportunities to get into raids than Kelfe or Ishtola, because Kelfe is strictly Holy. Ishtola is strictly Holy. Grace can fit into a Rob team. Grace can fit into a Holy team. So that's why I'm suggesting her. Before I end this video, here are a few honorable mentions. These units are good for the raid, but I'm not talking about them too much because there are talks about them, and some of them might be obvious or they're limited edition and not everyone has them. So the first person is Thancred. Thancred will be perfect for this raid as well because he's also a light unit that has piercing. However, just keep in mind he is that of the Dragoon job and not the Lancer job, so you need to keep in mind that jumps have cast time. So if you're jumping in the air, make sure it lands, because if you jump in the air and it's your last turn, you will not get the damage. But what else makes Thancred very good pick for this raid is because of his sub-red mage and the access to resistance break. Now, not a lot of red mages that have sub red mage in their job description has resistance break. Usually resistance break is tied to the main job, red mages. However, Thancred is an exception to this, and because it's a light attack that decreases spirit, Thancred works perfectly well in any holy team that you want to build or you want to enter. So if there's a holy team in, there should be a Thancred in there to help increase the damage of holy. The next unit is Warrior Light. Just like Thancred, he's also limited unit, so not everyone has him. Although he has potential to be an attacker, he still won't do as much damage as an attacker. And keep in mind, he is of the Dragoon type, so you have to consider cast time when utilizing him in this raid. If nothing else, he can tank the raid while all the damage dealers do damage. Eldell is another unit that has potential in this raid. He is another UR that's main job Lancer, and he's of the fire attribute. So the idea behind him is you have one rain on the team and the rest are Eldell's, and rain imperils the balls while Eldell does damage. Eldell has crit rate in his kit thanks to Sub Samurai, and he has decent attack power, and I don't think he has a high attack power compared to Rob, but his damage should still be good enough, especially if you have rain to imperil the boss first. And then finally, Victoria. The Victoria is a perfect choice for this. Even though she's that of the ice element, she has access to steal time. She's pretty quick, and she's a Dragoon herself. Plus, she has self-sacrifice in her kit, so she will be doing damage. Well, that wraps up today's video. Hope you enjoyed this. This was my first time doing a video like this. Normally I just play games and record it, but I do hope you enjoy it. Now, if you're looking for a more in-depth guide to the trial, please check out TheoryCraft Games. He did a nice video of the trial, more in depth, and how to utilize Glaciela and Laswell for this event. Laswell is great for the Tomberry raid, which I didn't really go over much because the Tomberry raid is rare and Laswell is the best unit for that. But if you want to go in with Laswell, then have Ice Slashers with you. Gilgamesh will be your best alternative, or just go in with units with defense piercing to take him down slowly. And if you're looking for an in-depth review of Glaciela, check out Cabbage's video on Glaciela. He personally used her in the JP side of the game, so check out that video if you want to learn more about Glaciela. One last shout out towards the guild I lead, which is Sacred Grove, and we are recruiting at this time. We're a casual guild. It's run by me and my friends, and we have some spots open. We're gonna more details in the description below, so if you wish to join, please feel free. The only requirement is at this time is that you be active. We're gonna think about Discord, but at this time, no Discord. Just in-game chat, come in, enjoy, be active, do your battles. That's all the requirements for now. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll try to do more of these in the future. See you guys later. Bye.